Hello and welcome to a video introducing Happy Kids ASLA Program. I'm your host, Mr. Jason Brunken, the ASLA Program Principal here at Happy Kids. I'm also a longtime ASLA teacher and an ASLA and day program parent from Happy Kids. I've been teaching here at Happy Kids since 2006. I've had two girls go through both our day program and ASLA program here at Happy Kids, and I've been working in an administrative capacity for the ASLA program, I think, for about 11 or 12 years now. So you can say I have a little bit of knowledge about the program, and I'm making this video to introduce the program to a lot of you parents out there who are considering it for the coming school year. After you finish this video, you want to probably pause the video, write my email address down here. If you ever have any specific questions about the program, I'm easily reachable there by email. Feel free to reach out anytime, and I'm happy to answer any of your specific questions. So I want to begin by talking about what ASLA is, what it stands for, and give you an overview of not only the objectives for the program, but also the curriculum. And then I'll move on to talk more specifically about grade 1, the grade 1 program, the process of the ASLA program as a whole, and also our Happy Scientist class, because I know those are kind of the big questions that parents have this time of year while they're considering enrolling their child in the program. So what is ASLA? Well, ASLA stands for After School Language Arts. It's a very apt name as the program meets after class for our elementary school students here at Happy Kids, and it focuses almost entirely on language arts. We have two basic, I don't want to call them programs, but two basic schedules, especially for our first and second graders. That's our early bird schedule and our regular schedule. So again, it's the After School Language Arts program because it's meant to for students to attend after they finish their elementary school classes. So next year, your child will be attending first grade at an elementary school. That might be a public school or a private school. If your child attends public school, you know your child will have a half day, 4 days a week. That's Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Your child can then attend our early bird program, which begins at 1:30 and ends at 3. But if you're sending your child to a private school, they're going to have a full day program, probably ending around 4 or 4:30, 5 days a week. So our regular schedule will be better adjusted for your child so they can finish up their school day and come to Happy Kids after. Now I know it's a bit of a nervous time for our day program parents out there trying to figure out how they're going to juggle in elementary school classes and Happy Kids at the same time. It's our experience that both of these schedules, while they can feel a little crunched, do offer enough time for kids to be able to go to school, come to Happy Kids, and get their homework done and stuff as well. So basically our philosophy is we want Happy Kids ASLA program to feel like a continuation of Happy Kids, the same school, just meeting at different times rather than full day from morning to afternoon, just after their regular day. Because again, we feel that all of Happy Kids should operate under the same philosophy, which we've always called the Happy Kids way. And so our ASLA program does the same thing. We continue to have an immersive English environment. So not only the students, but also teachers and staff use English only within the school and the hallways. So students are encouraged not only to use English and learn in English in the classroom, but also to socialize in English when they come. That's very important because your children have learned a lot of English in their days in the day program. And now when they come to the ASLA program, you probably one of your number one goals is to make sure that they continue that learning journey. And so that immersive English language environment is essential. Also, we hire high quality teachers to make sure that the curriculum of the program is not only effective, but also very interesting for the kids. In fact, many of our day program teachers also teach in our ASLA program. So if, obviously if you've been satisfied with your child's day program teacher, he or she is probably also teaching an ASLA class, which, so your child might get the same teacher 2 years in a row or a few years down the line. And again, we try not to keep the focus only on English language arts, just like in the day program. We try to make a more whole child, whole language approach in the ASLA program. to make sure that kids aren't just learning what they need to know for school, but also developing as young people. And of course, we can't forget that we want to make sure that our ASA classes, just like our day program classes, are caring, safe, stimulating, and also that it's a fun, pressure-free learning environment. What that means for ASLA is that our elementary school students don't have any homework or quizzes that they need to worry about. It's test free. We want kids to be able to come to the ASLA program ready to learn, relaxed, seeing their old friends, and having just a wonderful time in the program. But of course, and being challenged to grow and learn as they go on. Another way to understand the ASLA program is to just think of it as, you know, not just a continuation of the Happy Kids way, but a continued focus on those values that we like to teach at Happy Kids, just with new expectations. Um, so while the day program does try to grow the character of your child by teaching kindness, honesty, a growth mindset, creativity, expressiveness, and resilience, we try to do those same things in ASLA as well. But obviously, our expectations are geared more toward kids of that age level. Um, I'm sure you can think of examples of this, but really what we want to make sure is that your child isn't just growing academically, but also in character as well. So we feel the ASLA program is a program for a lot of different parents. If you're a parent looking for, well, just a fun place to go after school because you still have to work, well, Happy Kids can provide that for your child. In fact, that's one of the main reasons why our Happy Kids love the program. It's because they get to hang out with their old Happy Kids friends, many of whom they've known since they were, I don't know, 3 or 4 years old from day program. A lot of our parents are looking for a way to prepare their child to eventually transfer to an international school system or maybe attend school abroad, whether it's at the secondary level or post-secondary level. The SLA program has a curriculum and a set of standards that will keep your child on path to be able to make that transition much easier for them. So whether you're just a parent looking for a fun place for your child to spend after school while you're waiting to get off work and pick them up, or if you're just looking for a rigorous uh, uh, what's the best way to say that? A rigorous prep program to help your child prepare for future educational opportunities. The SLA program can provide that for you too. Now, talking about curriculum can be incredibly boring, but I think it's important that I touch a little bit on it. So I'm going to give a brief overview of the ASLA curriculum. And again, if you have any specific questions, feel free to email me. So the ASLA program has, we purchase a North American program, English Language Arts program, through Hoffman Mifflin Harcourt that forms the foundation of the program. Now, this coming school year, we are transitioning to the Into Reading program. Since 2008, we've used Hoffman Mifflin Harcourt's Journeys curriculum, but that curriculum has since gone out of print, and so we're making the transition to Into Reading. So I don't have a lot of direct materials to show you at this point, but just know that it is a widely adopted, professionally reviewed language arts program that meets all the standards for schools all around the world. And our teachers have these materials to use to form the foundation for many parts of the ASLA program. Those components of the program include reading instruction, where we don't just focus on teaching basic comprehension. Now, obviously, that's a big part of any English language arts program, improving reading comprehension. We do that through consistent work with vocabulary, helping kids continue to develop their language comprehension so that their reading comprehension improves along with it. But we also want to make sure we put the focus on getting kids to develop certain reading skills. Now, reading skills are tools that kids can take with them going forward in their educational journey to help them use reading not just for leisure, but also as a tool to continue to learn more. Into Reading provides a rich set of literature that kids can use and then teachers can use to teach those reading skills going forward. And of course, we do have grammar and spelling and phonics instruction put throughout the program, as well as writing instruction as well, which I'll talk about in a little bit more detail later. So just like with the day program, in the Happy Kids, or sorry, in the ASLA program, we want to put the focus on the process, the learning process, as opposed to individual products that the kids create. Now, of course, especially in writing, our students make or produce a lot of great written products because they're all wonderful. We have a lot of wonderfully talented students in the ASLA program, but that's not really what we take pride in. We take pride in the overall process of the program. We want kids to learn that learning a language and learning in general is a journey that never quite ends. And so their focus should not be on what they produce, but on how they approach that journey to help them continue to get better. Um, and in English specifically, we want to make sure kids understand that English is a tool that they can take with them and help them access the world going forward. We believe both of these two philosophies are really important, and so we pay particular attention to how we deliver our curriculum to make sure it meets those goals and is very effective. On top of those rich paper resources, which I just talked about, we also like to put in a mix of digital resources as well. Our kids are growing up in the 21st century, and the last few years has made it all the more clear that kids need to learn how to adapt their learning and adjust to learning environments that are different than the ones that you and I had growing up. And so at Happy Kids, we try to put a lot of those, what the educational elite like to call 21st century skills into the program. Now, these skills include learning how to collaborate, learning how to use digital technology, learning how to communicate better. It's taking the focus away from individual test-based assessment into more of a social learning environment. We've had a lot of success with this in the past few years, and we're excited to continue to keep doing this with the kids going forward. A lot of what helps deliver those 21st century skills and provide opportunities for kids to practice them is what we call our extension projects. We call them extension projects because they are an extension of the curriculum. Into Reading's fantastic, a lot of great learning material in there, but like any curriculum, it's not the most fun for the kids. So our ASLA teachers are challenged to make or to create rich projects that apply the skills and knowledge learned during the lessons from the Into Reading curriculum, for example, and apply those in very interesting ways. Extension projects vary greatly from grade to grade. Examples of extension projects include writing stories, participating in a pen pal project or some kind of collaboration across an ocean with another group of students or another school. Sometimes that's on writing, sometimes it's on a video project. Some classes make class newspapers, some classes perform dramatic presentations, some classes make poetry books, some classes try to tackle global issues, learn about them, and put their persuasive writing to work and craft opinion letters that they later mail to newspapers. The list goes on and on. It's our rich curriculum, our excellent teachers, and our even more excellent students that allow us to be able to pull off these extension projects. And they really are the part of the program that kids remember the most. And when they come back to visit us after they move on to high school or college, it's the stuff they like to talk about the most. Some of my best stories from returning students are the times when they recount the fun extension projects that they did with their friends in class. So this section of the video is just to talk again probably about our values with the ASLA program, what we feel its focus is, and why we feel so passionately that the ASLA program has a lot to offer our day program graduates and any other student looking for a fantastic language arts program to prepare them for a bright future using English. So first of all, we believe English is not just important to learn, but it's a key to the world. And I think a lot of you, one of the reasons you chose Happy Kids in the first place is because you agree and feel this way too. So one of our goals with the ASLA program is to be able to increase opportunity for our students by helping them develop mastery in English, because we feel the English language is increasingly becoming, I don't want to say necessary, but very important to future opportunity and success. So if we can get our kids fluent in English, it's going to open a lot of doors for them in the future. And I think you all agree with that too, which is why you're looking very closely at the ASLA program at Happy Kids. So we feel the ASLA program is for a lot of different kind of parents and a lot of students. If you're a parent looking for an interesting, leading, fun English language arts program for your child, Happy Kids ASLA program is the one for you. If you're looking for an alternative to the bilingual international school system, the ASLA program is for you. What I mean by that is I'm sure a lot of you are looking for ways to help your child continue all the great English learning that they did in the day program. And if you've had people talking to you about many of the great international schools that are around Taipei, but you also know that sending your child to those international schools might close the door to other opportunities, such as attending a university here in Taiwan. So the ASLA program allows you to send your child to the public school system here in Taipei, but also continue their English language learning at a way, or sorry, to standards that will keep the door open to eventually transfer to a bilingual or an international school program later in their academic career. This is really important for a lot of parents, and um, especially for parents with elementary school students who don't really want to make that transition until they're in secondary school. So uh, consider it for that reason. Um, And again, the second point here, for students who plan to transfer to international school, it's essential that your child stays on pace to make that transfer or that transition as easy and effortless as possible. And the ASLA program is set up to help kids stay at a language standard that will help them be able to transfer no matter what grade they're in as they go forward. And finally, a lot of our parents have attending an American, UK, European university as one of their goals for the future. Or I shouldn't leave out Australia as well. We do have a lot of parents looking to move to Australia these days. And while kids tend to learn a lot of the English they need for that eventual transfer in the junior high and high schools here in Taiwan, um, it helps tremendously to be able to, for students to be able to develop that English language foundation. Because the more they develop and the more they learn now, the stronger their English is going into junior high and high school, the easier it is for them to be able to master English at the level that they'll need to be able to not just be successful on the entry exams, but also to be successful uh, when they have to take university classes that are all in English, and to help them adapt and adjust and transition well to living abroad. So if any of those goals are some that you have, know that the ASLA program is perfectly suited for you. And we are very proud of the success that we've had with the ASLA program. I will proudly put up any of our ASLA students against the students of any class, any school. That includes international schools like Kangqiao or the Taipei American School. I'll put our students writing, their ability to create, collaborate. I will put our kids up against any of those schools any day, because I've seen that the ASLA program helps develop students that can compete with some of the best students in the city, develop students that are immensely creative, but more importantly, students who are leaders. Students grow their confidence as they practice and learn more in English. And so when they're put in a situation where they need to use English to accomplish something, a lot of times it's our students who have to take the lead, whether it's in their public elementary school classroom or eventually when they move on to like an international school. Our kids have the tools and the knowledge to be able to take leadership roles in those positions. And finally, collaboration. Collaboration is a skill that's not widely taught in many school systems. I don't want to say school systems, but many schools, including international schools here in the city. Our program offers a unique opportunity to help young people develop those collaborative skills because we do a lot of group learning, large group and small group projects in the program to help kids get familiar with that type of learning and that type of work environment. So even if it's when they eventually enter the workplace years and years and years from now, they have some background and some experience with those skills. In the end, we like to put process over product. And what is this ASLA process? Well, if you look on the screen here, it looks a bit like this. So in grade 1, we call this year the foundation year because this is where we want to make sure students have this is the year we want to make sure we reinforce all of those skills that kids learned and came into the ASLA program with from kindergarten. So that includes phonics, sight words, and a lot of the basics of comprehension and reading. And then we want to make sure that foundation is solid. So grade 1 spends a lot of time reviewing those foundation skills and then preparing students to enter grade 2. So with grade 2 is a very important year in the program because that's the grade where we teach a lot of those early language skills, especially in writing, that are then going to be reinforced and practiced in the later grades of the program. So for example, our second graders begin working more closely with reading skills. They begin practicing deepening their comprehension. In writing, they begin moving on from simple sentences and paragraphs to writing full compositions. And all of this is to prepare them for grades 3, 4, and 5, where those grades review and practice many of the same skills that were taught in the foundation year, but with the focus on helping the kids work towards mastery, continuing to grow the depth of their understanding of these particular skills, and helping them move on until finally we get to grade 6, where the mastery of these advanced skills go. So just to rehash, grade 1, we consider that foundational level where they review and master phonics. They finish the learning to read phase and start using writing more as a tool to learn more, and they start beginning to write more independently. From there in grade 2, as I described earlier, is where those fundamentals are taught, where kids begin to use reading as a tool to learn. They practice fundamental reading skills that are later rehashed. And then they learn the basics of full composition, and they learn to improve their writing stamina so they can complete an entire composition. Then in the middle grades, we want kids to become more proficient with these reading skills that were introduced in grades 1 and 2. We want them to begin mastering the basic compositions, deepening their skills as a writer, teach them how to use writing not just as something you do in school, but as a tool of expression that can be applied in a lot of places, and then get them to start using English beyond just the vocabulary, but help them develop a more subtle understanding of the language, and try to get them to use figurative language, more expression, emphasis, in their usage, both in writing and also while they're speaking. And finally, it's really in grade 6 where we try to get that mastery of the language to prepare kids to enter the secondary schools, whether that's in our program for upper level students here at Happy Kids or another program that they later attend. For this to happen, kids need to learn how to read for depth and complexity, not just basic reading skills. They need to be able to develop more advanced writing skills. So this means separating non or informal from formal compositions, practicing a more formal voice when they write, learning how to write polished essays, things like that. And then ultimately, because it's for a lot of our students, it's their last year at Happy Kids, we want to help them become lifelong learners so that they can take the skills and the processes they learned at Happy Kids in the ASLA program, with them beyond. So don't worry, I'm almost done. Thank you for hanging with me this long. Uh, the next bunch of content here, I'm just going to quickly give an overview of the first grade program here at Happy Kids, and then also Happy Scientists. So as I already mentioned, first grade is an opportunity. The objective for grade 1 is to lay the foundation for the kids. So it's a continuation of the curriculum. So currently, the kids use a Journeys curriculum in kindergarten. We're not sure if that's going to change yet going forward, but if it does change to something like Into Reading, grade 1 is going to continue that same program going forward. There are 2 first grade classes, as I mentioned before. Grade 1 early bird meets at 1:30, but the regular class meets at 5. You're welcome to enroll in either one. Typically, most of our public school students will attend the early bird class, while our students who attend private school will attend the regular class. And a lot of parents will ask me and Mr. Yen, what the big differences are for grade 1 and from kindergarten. And really, it's they're fairly similar. We try to create a hybrid culture in grade 1 because we understand grade 1 is a very important transition year. Kind of the biggest difference is that the focus on the language arts, the reading, the writing, the grammar, and the vocabulary development is much more intense in grade 1 compared to kindergarten. Kindergarten is a much more whole child, whole student approach to learning, while in grade 1 we really start to focus even more on the academic skills, which makes sense because they're going to start experiencing that a lot in their regular elementary school, as things go a little bit slower than when they move on to second, third, and fourth grade, but they get a lot of new experiences in first grade, and ASLA is going to be a new experience for them as well. Overall, we do want to make sure students start to learn to be real students. And for first graders, what that means is we work on building what we call stamina with the students. So we try to make sure first graders start getting more used to reading for longer periods of time, writing for longer periods of time, staying focused for longer periods of time. And we put a lot of effort into getting kids to understand the elementary school classroom. This is a big part of especially first semester of first grade, both here at Happy Kids and in their regular elementary school, wherever that is. Learning how to be an elementary school student takes some time. And for that reason, we try to make sure first grade is the best of both worlds. And so we don't want to jump completely no, what's a better way to say that? We don't want to shock kids with an intense amount of work and all book work right away in first grade. So we try to make a nice balance. So we try to keep some of those fun things that kids loved from day program, like art and circle time, hands-on learning opportunities, centers. We try to keep a lot of that in grade 1, but at the same time, we want to make sure that we're helping prepare the kids to be elementary school students and for the later grades in the ASLA program. Now so the last section here, I'm going to close by talking about Happy Scientists, which is a fun little class that we have here at Happy Kids that is for our first and second grade early bird students. Well, it doesn't have to be early bird students, but the class does meet at 3 o'clock, so it's quite hard for students who aren't attending our early bird class to attend, or if a student's attending private school, it's hard for them to, obviously they can't get out of class to come. So Happy Scientist meets right after our early bird classes, and typically it's our early bird teachers who are doing the teaching in the Happy Scientist class as well. This is often a very popular class among our students, and I've had a lot of great feedback from parents in the past. It's a class that started with me when I came to the school in 2006. I created this class and had a lot of fun teaching it until about 2010. And so since then, we've had a lot of teachers come in and do a great job with the Happy Scientist program. So what is Happy Scientists? It's really meant to just be a fun introduction to science, because the kids don't get a ton of science in first and second grade in the local school system. Kids love science. Why? Because science is an opportunity to really dig in, learn with your hands, ask a lot of fun questions about the way the world works. And we try to bring all that to the Happy Scientist classroom. In a sense, when I'm coaching our new teachers on how to teach the class, I remind them that it's meant to just be a fun, hands-on approach to science. And it's an opportunity to learn learn science using English. For a lot of parents, the main draw of the Happy Scientist class is it's another hour of an all English learning environment. So it's just that much more practice in an English speaking classroom for their kids. But it has its benefits too because it provides kids with a very deep and very broad foundation in science. In fact, I remember when my daughter went through the Happy Scientist program, she was telling me all through like fourth, fifth, and sixth grade, she'd always tell me like, "Oh yeah, science is easy. We learned everything in Happy Scientists anyway." So a lot of the science that's taught in our two Happy Scientist class um, aren't taught until the later grades in the local elementary school system. So it's a good way to get your child ahead, I guess. But we try to make science a lot more fun than the way they experience it in elementary school class because all the fun of science is learning it hands on. And so while we do have a book that provides kind of the foundation for the curriculum in the class, we use Hoffman Mifflin Harcourt's Fusions curriculum if you want to look it up and learn more about it. But that's not, I would say that book probably comprises maybe 40% of what's done in the class. The other big chunk of class is done through experiential learning. And so probably weekly, maybe 2 times a week, students are doing hands-on experiments, working with the scientific method and understanding exactly what science is all about. Uh, we also like to get the kids outside if we can. And so science is one of those great classes that where it's fun to take the kids either outside the school building, take them to the park to observe the world around them and to observe some of those science concepts that they learn about in class, observe them outside in the real world. Well, that's going to wrap up this video. Remember, here at Happy Kids, we say this is where learning and fun are one because while we are a great school and we provide a lot of great learning opportunities for kids, um, we want to make sure learning is fun because fun increases engagement, increased engagement increases learning every time. So again, this video has been an introduction to the ASLA program. Thank you for listening. And again, if you have any questions, my email address is here on the screen. Feel free to pause it, write it down, and send your questions to me. Happy to get back to you. If you're not very comfortable asking questions in English, you're welcome to contact Mr. Yen as well. His email address is there. He knows a lot about the ASLA program, especially the kindergarten and first grade classes. You're welcome to email him in either English or Chinese, and he can help respond to your questions or relay them to me if he's not able to answer them. And that's going to include our video. Thank you all for listening, and I look forward to seeing you all in the future in Happy Kids ASLA program.